Britain is facing a crisis that goes far deeper than politics or party squabbles. The very backbone of our nation is walking away. It's not just ordinary citizens who are fed up and turning their backs on the state. Now, record numbers of police officers and armed forces personnel are joining the exodus, abandoning what they once saw as a calling and a duty to king and country. Let's look at the scale of the collapse. British police officers are resigning at unprecedented rates, with many choosing to pack up and leave for countries like Australia, where they say their skills and dedication are finally respected. What does it say about our country when the people tasked with maintaining law and order no longer see a future for themselves here? It's the same devastating story in the armed forces. Soldiers, once the ultimate symbol of loyalty and service, are now resigning in droves. The message from those leaving couldn't be clearer. They no longer trust this government. They're sick of the woke, anti-British agenda that has seeped into every corner of national life. They're done with being muzzled, silenced, and overruled by politicians who care more about appeasing globalist elites than about defending British values and protecting our communities. These are men and women who put their lives on the line, who stood as a bulwark against chaos and violence. Now, they're openly saying they've had enough of the betrayal, the lies, and the constant feeling of being treated as pawns by those at the very top. And this isn't just about morale, this is about faith. Faith that the government will have their backs, faith that their sacrifice means something. When that trust is shattered, when even the most loyal decide it's time to walk away, you know the situation is dire. So what does this all mean for Starmer's Britain? The warning signs are flashing red. Our frontline protectors are losing faith in a government that seems more interested in virtue signalling to globalist organisations than in serving the people who actually make this country work. Morale is collapsing at every level because the sense of purpose, unity and pride that once defined our public institutions has been systematically eroded. Even the loyal are walking away. That's how broken this regime is. Starmer and his WEF-loving elites have pushed too far, and now the very defenders of the nation, those who once would never dream of quitting, are choosing freedom over obedience, principle over blind loyalty. Make no mistake. This isn't just a wave of resignations, it's a mass rejection of tyranny. It's a clear message that the British people, including those who once proudly wore the uniform, are waking up and refusing to be ruled by a regime that no longer represents them. Britain is on the brink of a reckoning, and the establishment should be absolutely terrified. The protectors have sounded the alarm, the public is watching, and the message is echoing louder than ever. Enough is enough. Let's have a watch of this clip, but first, hit the like button and subscribe for more.
Our goal is to attract 200 experienced police officers to consider South Australia as the new place to pursue their policing careers.
It's devastating. It's devastating potentially for our resources.
On foot patrol with South Australia Police in Adelaide, it's a world away from the UK. Yet right across South Australia, you'll find increasing numbers of British bobbies. Experienced officers disillusioned with UK policing and quitting in record numbers. South Australia's Police Commissioner certainly knows how to tempt them down under.
We'll pay for the cost of permanent visas for you and your family. Not to mention, we've got this.
The Commissioner here makes no apologies for his search for British talent. A team from South Australia is now in the UK for the next fortnight, actively hoping to recruit hundreds of experienced British officers.
This is the second team we've sent to the UK, and the purpose of their visit is to meet face-to-face with people who are thinking about a career with South Australia Police. We've had a lot of interest from experienced police officers right across the various countries we're marketing in. So far we have 4 courses in our academy made up of international and interstate police officers, and we are aiming for more courses right through the rest of 2025.
But the growing crisis in UK policing, which is forcing record numbers of experienced officers to look elsewhere, is deeply concerning to former Home Secretary Suella Braverman.
Policing is going through a crisis of confidence right now in our country for several reasons. I think there's a failure of leadership at the top of the profession. I think that policing has become paralysed to a large degree by bureaucracy and paperwork, and in many ways people are not doing the job they signed up for. I think our police officers need to be empowered and not constantly browbeaten.
Many of those who've made the transition to policing in Australia say they'd encourage disillusioned UK officers to consider a move.
When I left the UK, I was a detective sergeant with Thames Valley Police. I suppose that the reason I left the UK was because I was seeking a better lifestyle for myself and my family while still continuing in a career that I really enjoyed, which was policing. Policing at its core is similar wherever you are in the world, I suppose. There are some differences in the law that you have to learn, and also carrying a firearm as part of your daily kit.
Low morale is cited as a key driver among those heading out of UK policing for a new challenge on the other side of the world. They leave behind a real danger of an increasingly hollowed out police service back home, depriving forces of the critical skills and experience they so desperately need on the front line. Mark White, GB News.
What are your thoughts on the crisis? Let me know in the comments. In other news, trans people in the UK are considering seeking asylum abroad due to safety concerns following a recent Supreme Court ruling, Labour peer Lord Cashman has said. On April 16th, the court unanimously ruled that the terms woman and sex in the Equality Act 2010 refer to biological sex, meaning transgender women are not legally recognised as women under the Act. Speaking in the House of Lords, Lord Cashman said trans people now live in fear for their safety and future, adding that some of his friends are exploring asylum in countries where they would feel safer and more accepted. Equalities Minister Baroness Smith responded by affirming the government's commitment to upholding the rights and dignity of trans people, stating that they are still welcome in the UK under the law. However, the ruling has sparked widespread concern, with protests erupting in cities like Bristol, where demonstrators held signs reading "trans rights are human rights" and "erased in law." The decision has significant implications for access to single-sex spaces, such as toilets, hospital wards and sports, with institutions like the British Transport Police and the NHS beginning to adjust policies accordingly. Health Secretary Wes Streeting suggested trans patients could be cared for in private rooms. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comments section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.